Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fangirlz Assemble. It's the end of our One Piece challenge, and we
We
failed.
did it.
However, I do not feel regret for it because, and we sort of, predicted that this might happen about 2 weeks in, because I was stressing and Kristan was stressing. We'd both be like, "Oh, you only made it that far? Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And we talked about, I think, a little bit on the show too. And I was like, as a huge One Piece fan, because I've consumed almost all of One Piece. I am a little behind. I haven't caught up because I've been reading old stuff. I've been to like One Piece Tokyo Tower like 5 times. I've cosplayed like 4 different One Piece characters. I've been to the One Piece convention. I would rather you enjoy it and connect with it than rush through. And you even mentioned like a really nice comment on Otaku Farm that was about like it would be kind of a disappointment if you had gotten through, what's 2 decades worth of work in 2 months and like rushed through all of it. So
yeah, that helped put it in perspective for me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh no, I did it. I did not do it at all. But yeah, it was like, we'll get into it more, but we do want to mention our great sponsor, InStockTrades.com, where you can get the One Piece box sets, which is a great way to consume the material, as well as the 3-in-1s. A lot of people don't like those thin pages, but I know a lot of people, it's an affordable way to consume it. There's a lot of options. So
absolutely.
You can get up to 50% off your collected editions. Great packaging.
Mm-hmm.
Just the best packaging ever. And you can get a lot of great stuff. So check out InStockTrades.com.
Free shipping if you spend at least $50. And the good thing about like if you were to, let's just say if you're in the US, your stimulus check hits and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna invest in One Piece, like physically.
Yeah.
You could always buy that first box set.
Yeah.
Which would be over $50, free shipping. And then make another order, and they add that loyalty discount on there.
That's right.
And that extra 2% adds up.
It really
when you're doing a big purchase, it is significant, especially when everything's already discounted.
Yeah, the fact that they've kept that around is pretty amazing because the prices are already so good. Then you got that loyalty discount. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Jesse said you gotta watch it. So I actually watched it before I ever read it. Now, as of our talking, I've now read everything that I had not previously watched because I started One Piece, well, after failed attempts of trying to get into it and failing. The guy I was dating at the time, he was like, let me start you on Water 7 arc. So I watched all of Water 7 up until when I caught up, which was mid Dressrosa, and then read from there. So I've been reading ever since, but I've watched all the movies. I went to the premieres in America and dressed up. Just Japanese though, because I'm stuck with the Japanese dub. I can't switch to English. I'm not a snob about that stuff. I don't care.
Yeah.
And part of it's because I speak Japanese as well, but I don't care. I like English dub. But if I start one, I gotta finish it.
Stick with it. Yeah, that makes sense because you're used to it too.
Yeah.
And you spent all that time commitment in it. I was gonna say I'm gonna need someone, probably you, Maddie, to send me like, here are the movies you can watch now if you're like this far, and like here's what you can do here.
Oh, I can totally do that.
Because I want to watch the movies because I know they're not like adapted from anything, and I don't know about getting into the anime. That's so much.
Well, and I think and this is something we can get to, like so let me order my thoughts about it. So before I talk about what you should watch, my recommendation before we jump in and talk about One Piece so far and what you've thought going forward, because Chris and I are committed to finishing our challenge, even if it's not within a month, right? But kind of continue like we did with Buffy last year. With Buffy, we went season by season basically each month. And so we just dedicated a show to that every month. Helped us. And it was also something nice people to kind of follow along with. And so we were thinking we'd continue the whole One Piece read through, but just go arc by arc and just kind of throw that in each month to talk about.
Yeah,
If
I think
that
that's
sounds
great.
like something you guys would like too, I hope. If not, it's just us doing it for us. But going off that, like if we're going arc by arc, what we can do is like there's be a few things that'll be worth it to watch because they're going to hit different.
Yeah, totally. I like that.
Especially in Water 7. Like some backstory stuff, I think it's just going to be, it's going to hit you more if you can hear the emotions and the laughs. And because One Piece, everybody has a different laugh, like a specific laugh.
Yeah.
And sometimes it helps to hear it.
Especially the weird villains. Like,
yeah. Yeah. Which is
like Zipper Mouth guy. Like, what's your deal? I want to know what you sound like.
But yeah, I can put together some movie stuff and we can even watch it together online or whatever.
Sure, that'd be cool.
Yeah, because there's so many good ones. Okay, so Jesse, yours is the same. My friends are at Water 7 and Ennis Lobby. I explained a few things leading up to it. Yeah, and that's a good starting point because most of your crew's together, it's solidified, and it's pretty easy to catch up everybody's backstories. Plus, if you watch the anime, they are going to remind you. They're going to show so many flashbacks. Oh, everybody joined, so you're good. They're going to tell you. No worries, ladies. Life's not a race, but a marathon. It's all about the finishing line. One fine day according to our own pace. Peace and love from Malaysia. Oh,
lovely.
So nice. Bobby the puppy is laying down in her bed.
Oh.
Which is good because she's been very loud.
Been very puppy.
So.
I do want to mention in Man 40's comment.
Let me find it.
Yeah,
here we go.
Yeah, an acquaintance of mine binged all of One Piece back in 2018, and to this day cannot remember most of it because of the binge. It was forced, so she could not really recall many details. See, that's another thing too. It is so dense, at least for me reading it. I was like, oh, there's so much here. I didn't want to I ended up not wanting to rush through it. Like this past week, I was like, I'm not forcing this. I'm just gonna read what I can when I can. I read some other things because I was just like, I want to give this time. I want to actually enjoy this. So that's a great way to put it too, because I would probably forget most of it if I really tried to rush it that hard.
And so I'm glad that we're taking our time because the benefit I had when I was first watching through it is that I was watching with the person I was dating at the time. So I had someone to talk about it with constantly. Which luckily, once we were both caught up, was just theories all the time.
Yeah.
So, how far did you get?
I'm still in Water 7.
Okay, well that's perfect. I'm excited. So we're about the same spot then, because I'm not as far as you. I did finish all of Sky Island, and I've gotten to Water 7.
Okay, that makes me feel better about it.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now. I'm on chapter 391.
That's really good. Okay, so that means I have it open too, so I can
I can tell you exactly what's happening. Because obviously anyone watching, we're gonna have to talk about things.
You're in the middle of Ennis Lobby then.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I was like, what is it? Yeah. I'm do you want me to tell you exactly where I'm at?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're still trying to get Robin back.
Okay.
So there's still that. She's like, I would rather die. I'm not going back. And they're like, what's wrong with you? That's where I'm at exactly.
Oh man, in Water 7, to me, I'm not a huge Sky Island person. I think there's a lot of really good bits. Mm-hmm. I especially love Gedatsu, I think his name is, because he's really fun in the anime because he just doesn't do things. He does he does this. Sir, you have to actually cross your arms. Or he looks up his eyes around and he can't see. Or he goes like this. No, you have to open your mouth.
That guy was fun. Yeah.
I love that guy. But Water 7.
Well, I mean, Frankie appeared and I was like, well, I know that's your boy, right?
That's my boy.
And I love that he just wears a Speedo everywhere.
Yeah. He's great.
Yeah. I like him a lot.
Man. So that means you have met almost all of the crew. You only have 2 waiting for you now.
Okay.
Which is pretty great. Which, even though Frankie's not technically part of the crew yet,
I mean, I know it's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, just how I mean, like
Yeah.
Robin and Frankie are really, really officially part of the crew at the end of this arc.
Mm.
Okay.
You
Our
mean
next,
Robin doesn't stay? Yeah, I know that. The whole time
yeah,
I'm like, come on, girl.
this
You're
whole thing.
going back.
So then they haven't shown you her backstory yet, right? They're just on their way. They're making their way through Ennis Lobby.
I mean, I've seen some of it, unless there's more. I know you say there's always more backstory.
Well, hers is really, really thick because it's really about her as a kid.
Yeah, like I know that she had she was on like she was wanted as a kid and that whole thing. I don't know if there's more.
Ooh, yeah, there is.
After that. Okay.
And let me tell you,
I know. I think I was told prepare to cry about every single backstory is so sad. I'm like, what?
So sad.
What do you
I
do?
might even just send you I might even just tell you to watch her backstory on Hulu, because
is it on Hulu? Is that where it's at?
Yeah, One Piece is on Hulu.
Okay, cool. Well,
it's also on Netflix, but I don't think they have Water 7.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah, and true. Jesse's right, because I can't tell you, but Robin's story is a huge deal to the overall story of One Piece, which you already see a little bit of with her and Crocodile and the Poneglyph, because that's the only reason she joined him.
Yeah, he was a crazy mess.
What is the best way to talk about this? Okay. I don't know if we should go arc by arc or just talk about your favorite moments and characters, or...
I know, I keep thinking, I'm like, okay, there's been so much that's happened.
I guess let's talk about the Straw Hats themselves and then branch out.
I do want to point out, Tina said you will cry over every character and ship. Yeah, I feel that way.
And she means the literal ships. Not like...
I know, I already feel that way for the first one, yeah.
Oh God! And it just gets worse.
I get it, Usopp. I get it.
It just gets worse because you've seen Frankie's, because they already talked about his. And his could be worse, and I still think there could be more to it because he just shows up on the island.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have Luffy, and Luffy, you get a touch of his backstory. There's a lot more that they'll get to. So you hear about him and Shanks, who gives him the hat and sacrifices his arm to save Luffy.
I mean, I feel like we're definitely gonna meet him again.
Oh, Shanks is big time.
Lot. Yeah,
Shanks is like the top. I keep
waiting for more.
I love Shanks. And that's kind of the most that you get. Like you hear about the gum fruit that he eats because he's dumb, and that's your backstory. And with Zoro, you get a little bit, which is,
which is still so weird to any. I know his name's Zoro, but like, because I asked someone, I'm like, when does it change in the manga? They're like, it never changes, and I'm like,
really? I thought it did.
That's someone told me that at Otaku's farm. I was like, when does it change? They're like, no, they didn't change. I'm like, what?
Am I just imagining it? Because it has to change, right?
So
I'll tell you, they do not call him Zoro. They don't call him Zolo in the anime. I'll tell you right now.
Because I was just like, wait, if you never would have told me, if I was just reading this on my own, I would have just been calling this dude Zolo for like ever. Like that's just because it's not changed, and I was told it would never change. I'm very confused by that. I'm like, if you're aware that the translation isn't right, like, why wouldn't you change it? I'm so confused. I'll never understand that. I'm like, I get it if you mess it up at first, but like, change it. I don't know.
So at this point, who would you say your favorite Straw Hat is?
I still think Chopper.
That's a good answer.
And I love his backstory. I love his relationship with Usopp. Makes me laugh every time because he believes every lie. Like, oh yeah, and it cracks me up. Like, there's definitely.
Speaking of Usopp, we need to get to his next thing in a second. Okay. But yeah, continue.
But yeah, I think Chopper still. I'm waiting for more of him because it's like he had the big moment, and I think I keep seeing this with everyone who joins, so this makes sense. Where they're like, okay, you get to have your backstory, you get to cry about that, and you get to experience all of this, and then we're gonna go on to this person. So I do look forward to where it's like we're gonna get a lot of everyone. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because now I feel like he's a background character again. Mm-hmm. and I'm like, I love him, but I do like everyone. There's no one I don't like.
Yeah, part of the good thing about the crew is, especially like when you get to this point, once the whole crew is together, pretty much, you really get to have a good opportunity where everyone's doing something at the same time. So there's no one that just feels like it. There's always going to be times, of course, where maybe it's a more Luffy focused big bad. Sure. There's always going to be that.
There's so many
characters. Not to the level of like Dragon Ball Z. But like every arc following this, pretty much, minus the huge time skip, which is definitely only focused on one person. Sorry in advance. You really get to see everybody do their own thing and kind of grow and develop their abilities in front of you. Kind of like you already sort of start to see it in this lobby, because eventually as they get in, everyone's going to kind of be fighting different things, different people, and doing their thing, which is really cool. But all of them, they all evolve in such a cool way. Although I wish Chopper had more backstory, but there's not really more backstory to him. He was a reindeer, now he's not.
Yeah.
The end. He was a reindeer and he ate the fruit. There was nothing before that except for him having a Rudolph story, basically, where the other reindeer didn't like him because his nose was blue, which is hilarious.
Yeah, I do love that. Like, because he's already really had his moments too, because he's so scared of stuff, but he was able to like try to guard the ship on his own, and then stuff happened with that. But I love that whole moment too. Like, I don't know, I just love how he can like cry his eyes out, but still be like really brave and like, I love him. Well,
that's why him and Usopp and Nami are kind of a cute little trio with that, because they definitely keep growing and they get better as like team members and fighters, but they're all crybabies and they get so scared.
Yeah.
They always get like the extreme scared face.
Which I love.
And then you have like Luffy, who's too dumb to get scared a lot of times. He's just oblivious.
His reckless nonsense like never gets old. It's still really like, it's always really funny. Like his confusion of things, just utter like lack of whatever. I love it.
Yeah.
It's consistently funny.
And he's just a fun character to watch, because even though he's dumb in that way, he's still really smart in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
But not so smart that he does like a lot of shonen characters. They're like, you can feel them thinking, okay, I do this, this, and this, right? And Luffy is just kind of like, keep doing it until you figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just picking his nose.
Which I just got to that like big moment where, because they're up against everybody.
Jesse, I told her to remember the whale, and we'll get there. We're not that far. Jesse.
I know it comes back, but it hasn't happened yet.
I cannot tell you how much I've cried about that fucking whale.
It was so sad when it happened, like at the beginning.
You don't even know how sad it is. And when we get to the end of Thriller Bark, you will know, and I will have to have you watch that. Like, I may have to have you watch it on Discord with me, because I think I'll need to know what your thoughts are.
You're gonna just be staring like, okay, react.
So real quick, David has asked a good question. Speaking of crying your eyes out, what was sadder so far, Arlong Park or the end of Alabasta for you? Because man, Nami's backstory is rough. It's rough.
Yeah. I think probably Arlong Park, but because the end of Alabasta was more hopeful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that whole scene of all of them with their arms up, like that was great. But,
which I love. There's some good statues of that too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nami's backstory was hard. It was hard.
Especially compared to the rest at that point.
Yeah.
Because Chopper's is really sad, of course. Sanji's is sad, but in a different way. And it's not the end of his backstory. Zoro's isn't really, it's sad, but it's not.
Yeah.
But it fits him. I think Frankie's is really sad. It could be sadder. I think it's really sad. And honestly, the most like the saddest Usopp parts come here in Water 7. Because, especially with him and Frankie and the ship. Oh, the ship. And when you learn the ship is fixing itself, And it has these little spirits that fix his ship, and he's gotten so attached to taking care of this.
Well, even like his big fight with Luffy and everything, and how he comes back and he's like, I'm not who I am. I'm this person.
Okay. So something very important when this episode is over, you and me, I need you to watch the Soka King intro on YouTube, because the manga does not do it justice. There's a whole song, and the song is very much like old Japanese, like live action, like robot or like Sentai shows. It's hilarious. It is so good. Oh my! I love Soka King so much. Usopp is amazing. Okay, because at this point, what's great is you spent most of this arc with Usopp. A lot of people hate Usopp at this arc at the beginning because he's whiny, he's combative towards the rest of the crew, and a lot of that's because of the ship, because he's very, very attached to the ship, which is a lot how he and Frankie bond, which I love, because I love Frankie because he's a crybaby.
Yeah.
He's a total crybaby, and he seems tough, right? You first think he's like a baddie, but he's just a softie. He gathered this little group of misfits on this island together, and he's just a big old softie who cares about ship, and he just like, I love him. And they're just so cute. But then he has to be Soka King, and everybody, not everybody, but Luffy and Chopper are like, wow, he's so cool. And Zoro's like, yeah, are you serious?
How do you not know?
Yeah. How long are we going to do this thing? Oh my gosh. And, he lies about the whole being from Sniper Island thing. But again, all of his lies come true. I'm going to remind you of that. So it's got to be somewhere. And this isn't even the best. Okay, Jesse, don't look at...
Oh. Okay.
Ignore what Jesse said.
I'm going to turn off the comments.
I can't. I'll tell you when you come back.
Okay.
This is not Usopp's final form. Let me just say. There's some really silly things. Yeah. Oh, man, what was I going to talk about next?
Yeah, you when you mentioned that, like, everybody hates Usopp, I'm like, really? Like, I
People
get the
really hate
appeal, though. Like, I think he's needed. His kind of character is needed.
Yeah, because he feels very different than the rest of the ship, which is important. Because he has a lot of flaws, and a lot of that's just because he's scared.
Well, and so many of them are like so powered that, like, and so strong, like, you kind of need that little balance of like, okay, this dude could be any of us, right? Like, just popping into this ship.
Yeah.
Like, he's a regular guy, really, who just wants to be a pirate, and like,
but he's talented, like,
yeah.
And that's why about this crew too, because you don't have to have a devil fruit to be strong, and everyone's still working together to get stronger. Like, Usopp makes that whole staff for Nami, and Nami's going to use that forever from now on. And she does incredible things with it. And Usopp is going to do incredible things. And then you have Zoro, who does not have devil fruit. He's just really good at sword. He sword real good.
Yeah, he do.
He sword real good. And Sanji, like, it's, again, regular dude, but he kick real good, and his leg goes on fire.
And he like food.
Is there more to that? Maybe, but
there always is, right? I like how when Zoro like first hopped into this whole thing, and he was like 3 swords. I'm like, how is he gonna? I remember thinking, how 3 swords? And then he's like, my mouth, and I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah.
So every time it happens, I'm like, man, that's gotta be very difficult on your teeth, man. Like,
yeah. Oh man, how much did you love? I need to talk about the other arcs, but I can't help but talk about Water 7 all the time because it's my favorite. Luffy being stuck in between buildings is my favorite thing.
Oh, yeah.
I love that he was stuck for so long.
And we just ignored him for chapters and chapters. And I'm like, what's going on with Luffy? Like, it's just like, he's not coming back for a bit. Like, they just were like, no, we're not gonna. And then when they go back, he's just like, what's happening here? Like, he's just super stuck. And they're like, how did you do that? Like, what?
So I guess we can kind of talk about each arc overall, I guess. the first one's difficult because there's a lot, right?
Yeah.
That's just a lot of intro to characters. But Alabasta is your first big arc that has anything to do with anything. And you start to hear about some things and meet some big characters that come back later. Because Crocodile's at the end of Crocodile. You're going to see him again.
Oh, I knew that because his pop's coming out soon.
Yeah.
That was just announced. I was like, oh, okay, so he sticks around.
Yeah, you see him again. Vivi, you're going to see again because she's a good friend of the crew. There's like a million figures of her. You're going to see Mr. 3 again, which I think he's hilarious. You're going to see Mr. 2, who's mine and Tina's favorite, Bone Clay.
Oh, he's the best.
Oh my gosh, he's the best. Like,
I love how
he's so gay.
They just immediately bonded with everyone.
Yeah.
They were just like, he's the best. He's the best.
He's a good guy, honestly. He's not like, there's a lot of people in this and like throughout that are enemies, but don't stay that way. Bone Clay's a big example. And there's also some enemies that are going to be harmless, pretty much. Buggy's a big one. Buggy's going to be here forever. Buggy's never going away.
Yeah.
And part of that's because he was on Goldie Rogers' crew with Shanks. They were younger members. Mm-hmm. And that's also important to keep track of because you're kind of going to meet some of these Goldie Roger crew as you go along. And the way they interact with Luffy is important. We also meet Luffy's brother, Ace. Mm-hmm. I hate Ace. I hate him. Like, I really, really do. I love every other... Well, I hate 2 One Piece characters. You've met one of them. And I really do hate Ace. Everybody loves Ace. Can't get away from him in the fandom. Just can't. And one day, when you get there, I'll tell you why. But
I was going to say, is it some later thing that I haven't experienced yet why you hate him? Okay.
Yeah, it won't be until like...
Because at this point, he's just like the dumb older brother that isn't going to stick around.
Yeah, it'll be in the 500s.
Okay. I'll get there.
Yeah, I hate him. Jesse, I like it. Buggy's a go. I want to cosplay Buggy, honestly. We got to watch a musical about Buggy, basically, while we were in Japan.
That's awesome.
It's really funny. Yeah. Buggy, oh man, he tries so hard to be bad, but he ends up doing good while trying to be bad while pretending to be good.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, David mentions how great are the chapter cover mini stories. That's another reason why this is just taking me much longer than I thought it would, because every beginning something's happening too, and I'm like, okay, and I have to like wait and like read the subtitle and then look at the picture, like figure out what's going on. Like, I'm not just like, okay, bye, like skimming through it.
Because there's like
stuff happening
so much.
Consistently.
Oda really stuffs a chapter. Like, there's always so much going on, and like I've talked about before, even you started reading it, the world building in here is so intense that like you just can't get away from it. Like, it's just there's just so much to pick up on. Ace is also the GOAT. Listen, I support all the Ace lovers, and I appreciate you guys not attacking me like some people do. There's a reason I don't like Ace, and we'll talk about it when we get there. And I've never recovered. I never will. Panda Man. Okay, have you noticed Panda Man?
Okay, so
it's important. It's not important.
Well, it just makes me like, because I told you, I was like, when I realized how long this was taking me, because I was reading, you know, you got that thing at the beginning, you got the actual chapter, and then you have the Q&A at the end, which I was really enjoying at first. And then I just started skipping because I was like, it's taking me too long. I have to get through this.
Which is fine.
And now I'm like, I kind of want to read it now that I'm taking my time. So, but one of those, he's talking about Panda Man and how he's just going to put him places. And since then too, I'm like, oh no, I've been like taking too long with chapters. Yeah, taking too long with chapters, being like, okay, is there something I'm not noticing here? Is Panda Man happening? Like, what's going on? And I'm just like, I gotta like, I don't know how to read this. It's taking me too long.
Yeah. So I guess I didn't ask you how you felt about Alabasta. I'm sorry. I just talked about this in it.
It's like it was great. It was so good. I love how they ended it. I really didn't know if she was gonna like come with them or not. So I love how that was like a back and
Well,
forth
and
where you
at the
just
time it
really
came
didn't know.
out, everyone thought she was going to join the crew.
Yeah. I
Because
had that feeling too. I was like, of course, okay. And then she's like, nah. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then, but the way it ended with all, I love the ending. So it was very well done.
Yeah.
And, you know, he has a way of making you care about every little stupid side character too,
Yeah,
you know?
all of them.
Every single person, everyone in that city, like the old guy, you know, like everyone. I cared too much. I was like, oh no, I have all the feelings.
And what's great too is like, as you continue throughout the story, Oda does a great job of giving you opportunities to look back at those characters. So in a few different ways. Sometimes there'll be a couple of chapters where you get to see the other characters for some reason. Like currently there's something Vivi's doing that I haven't got to go back and see her do in a while, but it gave us 2 chapters and didn't give us anything else for like a year. But also whenever they update their wanted posters, like Oda always gives you a chance to see what everybody else, all the people you've already met before, their like reactions to it. Because they're also like looking at the news, they're friends.
Yeah.
And Luffy always like, he always says, I'm gonna come back. And so something like fans look forward to forever. Like, oh, we're really excited for when we get to the end. And Luffy makes his way back to see every single one of these people, which makes me so happy. Because he's just he's a war, you know, he's a great guy. Shows up, they're like, oh, pirates. And then he fixes it. And they're so thankful for the Straw Hat crew. Love it. So Sky Island's an interesting one. Not everybody really likes this one. Elliot, his least favorite arc is Sky Island, Skypiea. I think it's really interesting as far as lore-wise, because you get a lot more like just kind of, I don't know. There's a lot of lore in One Piece that we still don't even have all the answers to.
I just liked how the whole journey to get there and back was so crazy and like fascinating. And it was just really fun. So like even just the getting there and then getting back down was a ride. Was fun.
Oh yeah. And you got to meet Blackbeard before they went to Skypiea too.
Oh yeah.
He's big game.
Yeah.
Which I love. It's just little ones, so little instances that's gonna mean a lot.
I was like, half these people, well, you kept saying a lot of people come back, so I'm like, okay, I gotta like remember these people. There's so many people, and I'm like, I probably
You're just gonna. There's nothing wrong with looking them up again when you see them.
That's what I'll have to do, I'm sure.
The anime helps a lot because there's flashbacks. So like when you see Blackbeard later, it's like flashback. Him and Blackbeard sitting in that like restaurant. They're both eating a bunch.
Yeah.
And like kind of saying the same things, but not the same things. And you're like, what's this about?
Maybe I will have to do the anime too. I'm just like, I know it'll take forever.
Yeah, well, luckily there's good compilations online and stuff too. So
that's a good idea.
And I can help. I'll tell you. And NL's Nedu is a cool character too. All of us are like, okay, when I've been waiting, you know, hundreds of chapters to be like, when is the NL and the moon stuff gonna be important again? Because we all think it's going to. We're like, what? He's just on the moon. When are we going back to this? What's happening? Oh, I gotta know. I love Skypiea, but I do have nostalgia because that was the current arc when I started reading the scans. Oh, David, that's so great.
I mean, I liked it. There's nothing I didn't like about it.
Oh, Jesse, Ender's definitely gonna come back. There's no loose ends. You know he's gonna be there endgame because there's gonna be something important on the moon that has to be there later. It's gotta be. But yeah, so far you've been through poneglyphs. You've heard about some sort of weapon deal, like in Alabasta, which we maybe know something about. And the middle name thing. Have you noticed anything about that yet?
I know there was a moment where it was mentioned.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Because I don't remember they said too much, but because Monkey D. Luffy.
Yeah.
Goal D. Roger.
Yeah, there was that point.
There's the D thing.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say anything. just keep in mind as you see some
Yeah.
like D names come up, be like, wait, just make a note of it and be like, okay,
Okay.
okay, Portgus D Ace. All right, all right,
That's my middle
weird.
name.
Yeah, we're all D. It's fine. Um, man, what else to talk about? Okay, do you have any favorite moments so far, or like, what's your, I don't know, your big takeaways so far from like?
There's just so much. There's so
There's a
many.
lot because you've read, over 400 chapters now.
Yeah. Well,
You're
close. Yeah.
almost halfway,
Yeah.
and things
Yeah.
just get crazier from here. I'll just warn you, things just get crazy.
Well, and now that you're mentioning, like, I'm looking forward to the end of Water 7 because clearly a lot's about to happen and going to happen. I want to know what's going on with the whale. Like,
And you'll know
so
at the
I'm going to be reading some of this tonight for sure.
arc after Water 7, you'll know about the whale,
Okay.
and then we can all be sad together.
I'm sure I will be.
Yes, I love Smoker and Tashiki. They come back a lot. Tashiki's good people.
I like everyone mentioning the 4Kids dub is making me think of how you made me watch that. Like,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I did have Kristan watch the 4Kids opening because I feel like that's required watching. It really is.
oh, it's hilarious.
Chopper's
It's
doctoring.
hilarious. Well,
Oh,
I don't know. I feel like the Alabasta arc was just a consistently huge moment. I just loved everything about that. That's probably my favorite so far.
mhm.
And I know that's the thing. I know everyone keeps talking about Water 7, and I'm like, okay, a lot's happening, but like I'm waiting for a lot to happen. You know what I mean? Like I feel
Yeah.
like that's coming up where there's moments that I have not experienced that make this a thing.
Yeah, I think the biggest part of for me for Water 7, because I did fall in love pretty quickly because I thought Robin was so cool and Frankie's my type of character.
Mm.
So that didn't take much, but like there's the way it wraps up, I think, is the biggest part. Robin's backstory and the moment immediately preceding it are what get me. It's another big emotional moment, not unlike the fist one.
Mm.
It's another because like both instances have statue lines that go together, where you have the characters like set together.
Well, I feel like there's those big moments in like everything, right? Because you have like Nami in the hat.
Oh, that's a big one.
That's one of the best ones ever. Yeah. And then you have the fists and everybody. And I'm like, okay, there's these consistent, like, oh, we're going to get you here. Here's how we're going to keep you going.
Gosh, yeah.
Like, and I'm like, okay.
I always cry every time they successfully get someone to join the crew.
Mm.
I always cry then because it takes a lot to get there. But once they're finally there, you're like, okay, you're Nakama now. You're family. Yeah. Like, the Nami hat scene. Like, Robin's scene when we get there. Because right now, Robin, like, she's just there, it feels like.
Well, yeah, she's like there, and then now she's like, wait, is she an enemy? Like, she's not, but she is. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. But I love her tone, too, because she's so mature. They call it, like, Oda refers to her and Frankie as the mom and dad of the crew. Mm. They're older for a while. But Robin's so, like, oh, like when everything else is going to shit and they're freaking out, Robin's always just kind of smiling, which I like. Yes, Jesse, that is the Nakama boost is real though. That's true. Ugh, I'm just so excited that you're reading it, and you're in for so much because already like a lot's happened, but still so much hasn't happened.
When even thinking about how many chapters there still are and how it's still going is pretty just mind-boggling, really.
Yeah.
When you think, because everybody always bring up One Piece as like, this is a thing that's going to take forever and you're never going to read because it's a billion bajillion chapters. And I'm like, you know what? Like, every time people mention it, and it's always a butt of a joke kind of thing, And I'm like, well, you've read like 100 years of Batman. Like, what's the difference here? Other than this is like consistent. Like, you
Yeah.
will never. I don't know that there is any other thing that's this consistent. It's the same dude doing it the entire time. He's bringing back stuff already. Even within what I've read, I'm like, this is already like, I don't know how you keep track.
Well,
If you're
especially
him,
with
I don't know how you do it.
real growth too, because
Yeah.
there's long running manga series like Conan
Yeah.
or Doraemon, but with those it's very different because like you're not looking at like an epic. This is more like it's better to relate One Piece to Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings because it is a long running epic. There's a lot happening here, and we are 2 decades into this, and everyone has so many questions still. There are so many things that we're waiting to be answered that have not been. Things that have been placed here forever, like NL and Edu, like again, been on the moon, 800 chapters, and we're still like, they're gonna do something with this. Like they're gonna do something with this, right?
The fact that
And we're waiting.
it's going to happen too.
It's exciting.
Well, and it's not something like, to get that kind of consistency out of anyone doesn't really happen.
Impossible. And
like, there's so many loose ends in comics we've read throughout the years where you're just like, they did that and nothing ever happened for it. Like,
well, because American comic writers aren't afforded that opportunity, or at least so little of them.
It's true.
Which is a bummer because, like, you'll start reading a comic series by a writer and you're really liking what they're putting down and you really like their storytelling. But the problem is not all of them are going to get the chance to really flesh out a long story.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chris Claremont got to, Jason Aaron got to, Tom King gets to. And I know that there's others, but I can't, or Hickman, right? Hickman gets to do that. But there's just not that many still. And I'm sure there's more big ones, but I can't even name that many big ones. And there's also a trend. Not to be that person, but there is. Like, a lot of these authors don't get to have a long running story or epic with these like this. And a lot of manga still doesn't do that well. It's exciting.
Well, and it's even to compare, like, Hickman and Claremont and stuff like that, it's still nothing compared to the length of time that this has been going on. And to know that you're like, no, they'll bring back these people. Like, we'll get these loose ends like tied up. This will happen.
Yeah.
That's amazing that you can even say that.
And like, I complain all the time about Hickman, right? Because I there's a lot of things I like about him, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, he introduces too many characters for no reason and doesn't give them depth. Mm-hmm. Oda adds 15 times more characters and they all get their due.
Well, and that's like the best part about it, right? Like, my favorite thing, like, we're both fans of stuff that's Whedon has done, right? Buffy isn't about, it's about the characters. It's not quite about the big bads. They're there and we like them, but I feel exactly the same about this. The character growth and how you care about the characters and the dialogue and everything happening is the point of it. It's not quite everything else. Everything else is great, but like, that's what you care about. You care about the characters. And that's what I'm reading for. And the thing about Hickman is that's all event stuff, and it's all like, it's event first, about the action, and the characters are secondary, and that's not my jam. So I'm with you there.
Man, I'm forever impressed by the way that how Oda like dangles these carrots. Like, I don't know how. Like, Jesse said, Oda's density is impressive, but also like, and how he keeps it together. I a lot of friends that I have a lot of friends that are really into JoJo's, and I like JoJo's too. And I should not place the two next to each other, but I can't help but use JoJo's as an example because there's something that happens in like arc or the series 4, and it's like a thing in the past where the person sees an older version of himself, and they never bring it back. At all. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, he just wrote it and forgot about it. And I can't stand holes like that. And Oda would never. Oda doesn't leave any holes.
He's got to have like a billion notebooks with like maps and like character charts. It's
No clue.
has to be.
Riley said a few years ago he read that One Piece would end in the 100 teens. Well, like when Oda first started out writing this, he wasn't expecting it to be this long. And throughout One Piece, he's like, okay, only like a few more years or whatever. And it's never that. And the problem is he lays these plans out in the beginning that screw him. So like early on, Luffy outlines what kind of ship he wants, what kind of crew. Basically a crew that mirrors Goldie Rogers, which means all the fandom are like, okay, which means he can only recruit 2 more members. You know, like we're like, okay, if it's going to mirror Goldie Rogers' crew, this is what his crew has to look like, which means we're still going to get another character. Like, and we spend years talking about this stuff. I sound like a cult member when we talk about One Piece.
No, I like it. I do feel like I'm like, man, am I like, I'm very late. I know I'm very late with jumping on this ship, but I'm into it.
Literally jumping on the ship.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, but that's so exciting and fun. Like I'm so excited for you. And we get to go on the cruise together.
Yeah, and we still don't know when it'll end. So that's exciting too, because it's like, oh, this could keep going, right? This could really
Yeah, and you know, he says what he's gonna say. I don't ever believe him. But he says in the next 5 years, who knows? You know, there's
still time left.
I couldn't even after you finish, after we get to the finish the time skip, then I can talk to you about bigger things that won't be really a spoiler then.
Okay.
Because we haven't even gotten to like special heat. Well, no, they talked about hockey a little bit in this. Not hockey is in the game. HAKI.
I was like, what? Okay.
And oh man, I need to look up something real quick. You haven't met the rest of any of the other members of Luffy's family, right?
No.
Okay, cool. Talk to me about once you finish War 7, just like call me right away.
Okay.
So we can talk about all of it.
Okay.
Because it goes deep.
I can see that now for sure.
But yeah, if everybody in the chat's cool with it too, and if Kristen's cool with it, we'll do an arc of One Piece until we're caught up.
Yeah.
Every month.
So
except for the final arc, because it's pretty long. We'll have to. They call it the 4 Emperors arc, but we're gonna have to stretch that out because there's no way. That's too long.
Do we know? Well, someone knows when. Are we wanting to do Water 7 then for the next?
Yeah, we can do that. Or? Yeah, let's do that. That way you take your time with it.
Okay. I don't know when it ends, but
it ends 441. You're not that far.
Okay.
So if you decide to read more,
but yeah,
you can, but don't stress.
Okay, cool.
Thriller Bark is a lot shorter because that ends at 489.
Okay.
Thriller Bark's great. It's basically Halloween. It's like a Halloween island.
Fun.
It's so much fun. And I will have to send you there's some filler episodes of the anime that are really good that you'll like.
Okay.
That I'll have to send you, like Chopper Man, where it's all about Chopper being a superhero. He's got a little cape.
Aw.
It's so cute.
I love it.
Or like one where like Chopper's a wrestler and like Usopp is his manager. Or there's a whole bunch of silly ones. One where everybody is like an old housewife, all the characters. And they're all like competing at the supermarket together.
I love it.
Like the filler's really good. Oh yeah, Tina loves Thriller Bark.
Okay, cool.
It's so good. Oh no, Fishman Isle made me quit for years. I mean, it's a different feel. Wait till Fishman Island. Mermaids are there, Kristen. You know who's gonna love mermaids? Sanji.
Yeah, I could have guessed that.
Oh man, and the only bummer about reading the manga, not listening to the anime, is you don't get to hear Sanji talk the way he does, where he's like, Nami Swan,
yeah,
Robin Chuan. Like it's so dumb. Speaking of Buffy, did you tell Maddie you may have convinced Jess to start at least smile time.
Yeah, yesterday's episode. I don't know how it got brought up, but I was just like, yeah, you need to watch Buffy because, like, yeah, you do. Somehow puppets were brought up. I'm like, oh, Angel did a whole episode with puppets. That's like one of the best episodes ever.
It's so good.
I love it.
Reed wants to know about your super cool hoodie.
Oh, Reed, you know about my super cool. It says, "Where does the good grow?" Which it says "grow" down there, and that was an Instagram show that Tina and Sarah did about Sarah's garden. It's a very specific hoodie.
And what else? Did you feel super? Oh, we should talk about R7 next time, I guess. But I want to know if you felt betrayed by CP9 and Kaku and the rest of the guys, because I love Kaku with the square nose.
Oh yeah. I'm upset because I liked him at first.
Yeah.
I love how everybody was like, "Stop." Right. That was funny.
Man. Oh, and there's a cat in this arc too, which is great. I guess Chimney's cat thing.
Oh yeah. Except it wasn't a cat, right?
Yeah, but basically.
Like a bunny?
Yeah. Oh man, there's a really big cat person later in the manga, like way later.
Oh, is it weird?
There's a whole animal island of people.
Oh.
Which just feels silly. You know what I mean? Where you're like, okay, Chopper's a reindeer, but then he's a human fruit. And so now he gets to be human-ish. But there's already like animal people. And I'm like, oh man, what a bummer for you.
That's a good
there's
point.
Animal people out there.
I love how every fruit is just like a name.
Yeah. Doa. I mean, that's the other bummer about the manga. Because the door fruit is like Doa ningen.
Clearly, I need to go watch the anime now. That's
just to hear them say their dumb fruits.
I kind of just want to hear everybody talk too, Because I have their voices in my head, but that's not accurate.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Frankie's is funny. He likes to roll his R's a lot. And he has a little dance. I love that man. So much. I was gonna wear my Frankie earrings, but I forgot. Wait till you meet Elephant Sword. She might have already met Elephant Sword.
If I did, I don't recall it.
Oh man, she hasn't gotten to Beppo yet. Soon. He's a big polar bear.
Oh.
Yeah, and the laughs. Don't worry, Tina. You and I we'll catch Kristan up on the laughs. It's very important. So what else is new?
Well, I was just thinking we should have Tina come on for one of these.
Well, I think that's what we should do. Is just, hey Tina, can you just clear out your final Sunday of every month, please?
You're not allowed to do anything else.
I didn't think about it today. I was like, I texted her like an hour before. I was like, hey Tina, do you want to we're gonna talk about One Piece. Do you want to hang out? Or and she's like, I just got out of the shower, but I'll be in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, Tina's in.
She's
and
like,
then,
okay.
Tina, whenever we get to Punk Hazard, you can cosplay as your boy. Ooh, Tina, maybe you and I can throw together. Can you throw together a Bon Clay cosplay, and I'll throw together a Buggy cosplay for when we talk about the time skip stuff? Hey, Tina, she'll do it with me. I've got a Buggy cosplay. That's classic. Oh, Caesar, yeah, Tamachi cosplay Caesar. Heck yeah, good. Wait, what? You weren't going to see your books, Kristan. You had a comment a few years ago that made me upset, and I'm still waiting. What?
I have no idea what you're saying to me. What made you what? Books are behind me. What made you upset? What? What did I say?
We'll eventually get a video of that collection.
Oh, do you mean my collection?
Especially post-COVID. For sure.
Why would that make you upset, though?
Who knows? A few years ago. We don't have good working memory.
No, I like what Hayden said, that 1 month into January, Kristen's a One Piece fan and Maddie's obsessed with Star Wars.
It's true. Isn't that so weird?
That's fun. 2021. What's happening?
I have no idea. Oh, I started a new anime and I want to read it. What do you want to hear about?
Yeah, tell me.
Okay. So I started watching Jujutsu Kaisen, which also is a manga. Maybe it's on Shonen Jump. I feel like it is.
I think it is. I've seen it, I think.
I love it. Like, I really love it. I'm only 6 episodes in, and I could spend an entire hour talking about how much I love every character's, like, how dynamic they are and how they don't match their stereotypes. Like, Ellie and I were in the car yesterday, and we just talked about that for an hour. We've only watched 6 episodes. I'm like, and then I think this is going to happen. I really appreciate that this person looks like this kind of character, but there's so much more to them. Oh, you would love it. It's very it's very funny and still has like some serious elements. It doesn't feel as batshit crazy as Chainsaw Man, but like if you just kind of reel Chainsaw Man in a little bit.
I feel like I've been hearing people talk about this. Yeah.
I really dig it. I really like it.
Awesome.
It's on Crunchy and sort of okay. I've been watching on HBO Max. Elliot calls it Curse Boy Yummy Fingers.
Oh.
The guy gets cursed and there's a thing where he has to eat fingers.
Weird.
There's specific fingers.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a difference.
So instead of calling it Jujutsu Kaisen, he just calls it Curse Boy Yummy Fingers, which makes me laugh. Maddie, are you picking up the new Teen Titans omnibuses? I'm pretty sure Donna Troy is going to be this on the spine of the up. I have the first one, and I'll probably eventually get the rest of them. It's just, I even though I really want to read them, it's just not motivating enough for me to jump on it. And I know I need to before they're all like out of print or whatever. But it'll happen eventually. I usually just pick them up for like there's a random sale or like comic book day or whatever. Yeah, 1 month until High Rise Invasion.
Oh, I wondered when that came out. I didn't know. I'm like a volume behind. I have to get it.
Well, when it comes out on Netflix, I'll read it at the same time so that way we can do a show about it.
Oh, that'd be so fun. It's going to be ridiculous. I'm excited.
It's got reverse Kakashi. There's a guy that looks basically like Kakashi from Naruto, but he has like, instead of having his like mouth covered, and it's just a blindfold. And they are very similar. It's a guy with white hair teaching 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 girl. That if you looked at them, you'd be like, okay, so it's like Naruto, Sasuke, and oh my god, Sakura. But it's not. He is Kakashi. No. James said Undead Unluck is a fun manga. It has the same vibe as Chainsaw Man. I'll check it out. Also in Jujutsu Kaisen, there's just a panda. I don't know what his deal is. There's students, regular humans, and one of them is just a panda. He's just a panda.
We should read this together and talk about it.
Let's read it.
Yeah, let's do it.
His classmate also can only talk in sushi ingredients. It's so good.
I'm in.
He can't say normal things. He just says like salmon roe, banana leaf. Oh, it's so good.
I'm into this.
I feel like I'm just vomiting words in this episode. This is how every One Piece episode's going to be.
I love it.
We haven't talked about next month. I don't know what we're going to read.
Oh, yeah.
We should probably read a non-manga, right? Or something.
Yeah, I guess. Anybody have any ideas who happen to be here?
Yeah, anyone want to make some suggestions for next month so we can do our job for us and tell us what Hey, Mary's here.
Oh, Mary. Mary, what should we read next month?
Yeah, Mary.
You know.
Yeah, Mary. Mary, come on the show.
I know, right?
It's been long enough, right?
I would love
Mary,
it.
Are you ready? You just come on the show. Hang on with us. Tavon says low. Matthew says Akira. We reviewed Akira, right?
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah. Matthew, if you can see by the title of the video, we did not.
No.
We failed.
No, I did not read
all. But that's okay. We're gonna do an arc at a time each month until we're done.
Yeah.
Done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That'll be good. I'm like looking around, like what can we? I don't want something long. I'll tell you that.
Mm. We already reviewed Monster, Tina. Although I am having, you should just show up anyways, but I asked Tina if in March she'd read Monster for Over Your New Reader.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. James, we did already review Spy Family.
Yep. Which
I love
very
Spy
much
Family.
enjoy. I'm behind on it now, but
Is there anything good coming out next month we can read?
you know, I don't remember what comes out next month.
We're
I'll have to
so
look.
late.
I have a list somewhere. I know.
For Over Your New Reader next month, I'm reading Green Arrow, The Archer's Quest. I'm reading a book I already forgot that Chris Schweitzer recommended. And I'm reading, we have like a Patreon pick between like Bitterroot, World of Wakanda, and another book I forgot. Wow, this is one of those nights.
You're gonna have to let me know what
and
Chris
Nubia.
I want to know.
Actually, I will pull it up right now because we posted it on Twitter. Ignore my really loud key sounds, everybody. Pretend like it's not there. Barbarian Lord by Matt Smith.
Oh, okay. I've read that.
Well, feel free to
That's
come
funny.
in if you want.
When is that?
February 9th.
Okay.
If you're not working, come on. It's going to be me, Chris, Schweitzer, and Lee. So just come out.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Oh, James, that's a good idea. Asadora, Volume 1.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
Or more Black Hammer.
It's true. We could do that too.
I guess that. We can. Hayden recommended Captain America Sam Wilson since the show is coming out soon. That's not a bad idea.
How long is that?
I don't know.
That sounds like an arc. I don't know.
I'm not a big like Sam Wilson fan. Maybe a book would change that. Like I'm gonna watch every show Marvel puts out.
Yeah.
Even if I'm like not into it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a Bucky person.
But yeah, I don't really care either.
I know a lot of the internet like
Bucky.
A lot of Tumblrs are really a Bucky person.
Yeah, that's true.
I never, surprisingly, this didn't hit me really, but I'll watch it. I'll figure it out. Well, sorry guys, this is the most like
I'm like writing stuff down.
But so we'll be back next week with, as usual, at least beginning of the month we do our hauls and reads. So we will be back for that, and by then we will have decided our month.
Yeah, totally.
But if you're just jumping on now, just so you know, we did not finish our challenge, but we do intend on continuing One Piece until we're done, sort of how we did with Buffy last year. Unless we need a month off and somehow you get tired of One Piece, which is fine. Because some months it might be too long.
So far now.
Yeah. So we will see you all next week, and I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you all have a good February.
And we hope you check out InStockTrades.com, where you can get some One Piece and all this other stuff we talked about.
Absolutely.
And they're great.
Have a good night, guys.